Welcome to the Teaming Up Show, your guide to the future of real estate. I'm sitting with Dylan Maitland out of you're like in St. Cloud. No, you're in like a Brainerd office, aren't you?
No, get out of here. Not that far north. I'm out of the Otsego.
Malacca.
I started in Malacca, but Otsego Market Center, it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Kind of northwest suburbs area. Kind of a north boy, so take care of those areas, and north suburbs, the Twin Cities mainly.
Yeah, was it your uncle runs a brokerage up there?
Yep.
And he's primarily the selling agent, one of the bigger selling listing agents.
Yep.
Or whatnot
Up in
there.
Malacca, that's where I started with him. He owns about a third of the market share. It's a small town, about 4,000 or 5,000 people, a lot of rural estate, farms, country homes, that sort of thing. So that's my home roots. That's where I started, and now we're here.
Now you're 24 years old.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Did you finish college?
Yeah, barely. Yeah, I graduated from St. Cloud State 2 years ago, 2012. I started real estate my sophomore year of college. I knew what I was doing just wasn't going to be...
so you were 20.
I was 20.
Okay.
Yep. I was 20 years old. Going on listing appointments, just driving around a little Saturn, just trying to make things happen.
You didn't buy like a BMW right away?
I didn't
You got one now.
Yeah, I got one now. Yeah. But that's how we started, just very humble roots. And middle of college, just knew I needed a different change. What I was doing wasn't bringing much opportunity for my personal growth. And my uncle advised me to get into real estate. And I'm naturally kind of self-taught, so that's kind of hard. I started in the business, had his guidance, and...
You're going to close 50 units this year, 52 units?
Yeah, about 50 or 52 will close out.
What's that for volume?
Volume, we're looking about 11 million for volume.
Okay, and what's that for your GCI roughly?
GCI, that'll put me around 330 GCI.
And you have a pretty strong net. You have about one of the stronger nets that I've seen, just because your net income is what I'm saying, is because of your lead generation poll, which we were going to talk about today.
Yeah, I really try to hone in on the MRE model, which talks about just keeping costs really down, focusing on what's really most important. So because of that, I can usually run about a 70% profit margin, and that's also including my cap. But again, that's because I'm not really chasing shiny objects, trying to innovate things that don't need to be recreated. And again, keeping things kind of in line with my focus and the way I prospect and lead generate. It's more time-based than it is dollars-based. And I understand some people can have different results based on their model, but for me, that's what works.
Okay, so what do you do like on a daily basis? What is your lead generation? And be honest, be truthful.
Yeah.
Okay?
So for the days that I'm in here,
because you know how many people say, "Oh, I do this 8 hours a day, and I don't stop, and then I do this many contacts, and they make themselves look like up on a mountain." Okay.
Yep. Okay. So I'll give you first the ideal day that I would like to work at.
Okay.
Because the biggest thing here is obviously I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And if I can at least hit my daily objectives 50%, I feel I'm going to be ahead of the pack.
Yep.
So my ideal day is to come in here, be on the phones by 8 or 9 o'clock, and my first go-to calls are your expired.
How many times are you here at 8 o'clock?
Not very often.
Is it once a week?
It might be about once a week. I'm here at 8 o'clock.
Okay, so this you're telling me your optimal day. Okay, then we're gonna go backwards. Okay, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, my optimal day is I'm in the office 8, 9 o'clock on the phones. The first hour or two will be spent calling for canceled or expired listings. I haven't worked.
Which to stop. You're fantastic at it for. I mean, especially for not being in the business like 20 years or something like that. You're really good at it, and it really works for Dylan. Okay.
Yeah, and the things that I do aren't going to work for everybody.
Right.
It takes a different kind of natured person to adhere to the things I do. I'm not good at open houses. I'll be honest about that. Yeah. But I know people that are phenomenal. You get me an open house door, and people, they walk in, they run out the door. I don't know what happens, but for me, expired, canceled.
You are kind of scary looking.
Yeah. So if I can really stick to calling those expireds and canceled, that's my bread and butter. And for the properties that I have sold, I like to do neighborhood calls around those properties to see who else might be looking to sell, whether that be now or in the future. So the way I look at lead generating whenever in the office, 8, 9 o'clock on the phone, spend about 2 hours lead generating, and then after that, following one more hour of follow-up. And those follow-ups will be from people who I've talked to recently or in the past. Again, just kind of checking to see where they are in terms of motivation and timeline, and really trying to narrow down when it might be most optimal to set an appointment.
Okay, so for the most time, for an hour or hour sometime you're spending in the morning sometime, you're spending some time to get some new business, and then you're spending about the other half the time kind of cultivating the warm stuff that you've already gotten.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you're saying, then what I've noticed from you sometimes is then your afternoons can kind of look like that a little bit as well.
Yeah. So let's say we get through the lead generation, the lead follow-up, we kind of take lunch. I do notice the early afternoon hours, a lot of people they don't pick up the phone, which is a great time for me to do the administrative business, work on systems, transaction coordination, that sort of a thing, where it's more business to business related activities. That's my most optimal time. Then around 3 o'clock, if I'm not in appointments, I try to dedicate another hour or two of lead generating or lead follow-up. And usually in the afternoons.
Or now even like what I've been hearing from you is contacting your sphere.
That's right.
About the next event that you're going to have coming up.
Yep, that's right.
That's phenomenal.
That's right. So one thing that I've been noticed, it's really easy for me to talk to strangers, because to me, I don't really have any kind of relationship that I can burn with that person. As soon as I hang up the phone, it was a bad conversation, they don't remember my first name to begin with.
That's true. That's true.
But for me to reach out to my friends, family, past clients, it's more difficult because I really do cherish those relationships. And recently, Josh has been helping me get out of my comfort zone and say, hey, just reach out and just chat with them.
Which you have done it. I haven't done anything other than just challenge you on your belief system a little bit.
Yep.
And how you looked at it. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all. Okay.
Exactly. And with that being said, then I created an event where I'm inviting all my past clients, current clients, and close friends and family to a movie that I'm hosting. In lieu of thanking them for their support and their business in the past. So for those calls, it's really easy because I'm inviting them to something fun, and plus it's nice just to catch up. And for me, it takes away that anxiety of feeling like I have to ask them for leads and that sort of thing. And naturally in those conversations that does come up, and it's usually a pretty easy relief to get through that piece of the conversation.
So just for you guys, if whoever's watching this, the two people, no, I was kidding. We here on the Pomerleau team here, you run the Dylan Maitland team, your own. Now it's only Dylan right now, but he actually has the volume and income to be able to start hiring, and he's going to look at doing that. But what I wanted to say is that I've had people that work on our team just say, "Wow, how amazing it is that you're just doing it. You're just nipping at it, man. You're just really not only are you doing the lead generation, the lead cultivating piece. You're that sphere, making those calls to that sphere. Has it been easier for you since now that you have a different mindset of contacting your sphere? Has that made it easy for you? I'll be honest, so I'm not setting this up. Has it been easier for you to think that you're going to actually provide them value? Has that been an easier call, or no? What's changed you from not doing it to being able to do it?
Yeah.
Other than me just saying you should do it.
Sure. And before I answer that question, I want to finish up kind of like the ideal day. Again, that's my perfect ideal day.
Right.
If I really had to time it out 8 to 9 on the phones for an hour, couple hours lead generating, an hour lead follow-up, get through the administrative processes through the early afternoon, and then if I don't have appointments, spend some more time lead generating, and then go home.
Yeah.
So that's the ideal day. Now, how often does that happen? I'd say once or twice a week. To a T, does that happen? Now, usually what kind of happens, I get in here kind of late and I might rush in a quick hour. But my main objective is I don't consider a day's work unless if I spend at least some time lead generating.
Yeah.
I don't even call lead follow-up part of
lead generating.
They're two different entities. But again, I don't want you to confuse it. I mean, we're human. Nobody's perfect. I'd be really shocked to see anybody who follows their perfect schedule more than 50%. I'd say for me, I'm probably about 30% that I follow that schedule. But whenever I do, results, they come like that. They really do.
It's funny at how little the time you can follow your schedule and how big of an impact it has.
Yeah.
Just for how little you do it. I mean, even if you doubled it or say you increased it by 30%, I mean, it would be even more. But so that just shows you even just doing some of the activities can provide such a big upside in your life.
Yeah.
At such a young age even.
And I think the biggest thing here too is not to get hung up on the days where you're here, you're lead generating and activity doesn't show up. I think it's consistency over time that's going to have your better results. The days that come in, have really shoddy calls, set up no appointments, I leave with the mentality that then say tomorrow's going to be a good day because today was going to be a bad. You have to go through the rough to find those diamonds.
I agree.
And it just takes time, and you just got to be chipping away a little bit every day.
And knock it down on yourself on the bad days. Just say, I know I didn't do what I wanted to do, but how am I going to get better? And the next day might get a little bit better, might even go worse. But just constantly know and tell yourself that I know that was a bad day.
Yep.
I know I've had good days, and try to vision yourself to have more of those good days.
Yeah. Yeah, Simon Sinek, he talks about how businesses need to be striving towards longevity. He talks in a statement about Apple and how Microsoft came out with a product called the Zune. And the Zune was perfect. It was just amazing for what it was. And Apple acknowledged that and said, yes, but we're thinking longevity. Maybe because we're not perfect right now doesn't mean that we have it all together. Our mentality is longevity. And Costco says we're not building a business to be impressive in the next quarter. They're building a business to last 50 years from now.
That sounds a lot like Warren Buffett.
Yeah, so if we can think longevity, again, it helps kind of put away those days you're like, shoot, today just really sucked because it's an adventure. You're running a marathon here. It's not a sprint.
I agree.
Then to answer back towards your previous question of asking me about making those calls in my sphere, yeah, the conversation you and I had about was bringing more value and just bringing more authentic and genuine about those relationships. It really has made me want to reach out to those people. And the past couple of weeks, I've been reaching out to my past clients, and it's fun to see where
you
they're
got about
at.
100 or so people in there. 110.
Yeah, about 100, 110.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll probably talk to.
So it's not like you're not talking 5,000 people or
No,
1,000 people.
no,
You're talking 100.
not at all.
And you're also keeping it simple with it's the people that you've done business with that know you, like you.
Yep.
And had a good experience. And we've also talked about there might be a couple of people that you won't call because you just don't feel like you guys connected. So you're not going to throw everyone in.
Right.
So it makes it easy. You're going to be talking about the people that you truly care about, and actually they care about you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want to see you succeed.
Yeah, and obviously people have different change in lives, and the kids grow up and they're in sports and activities. So it's fun to reach out and say, hi, how you doing? What's going on? And really kind of build that relationship. And again, Josh said I have about 100 people in the database that are past clients. And that's been actually taking me quite a bit of time to talk through. Because if I spend an hour making calls by the time somebody picks up or I actually talk to them, I might get 2 or 3 conversations in, but those conversations usually last 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, right.
And they're pretty good. And
they're great. That's the highest dollar. I mean, it's one of the highest dollar rate of return you're ever going to get. I just got done talking to another big team in our area that is going to close 220 units, and they're just wanting to grow, and but they're like, we really do well with our people that know us, like us. And I'm like, so I mean, that's a really bad problem to have. You know what I'm saying? It's such a good problem to have. I was joking. And so what I'm just saying is you're never going to get away from that. And being successful in this business, you're never going to get away from that. Never.
Right. I mean, obviously.
It can make you yawn and be bored, but it is what it is. You just got to get comfortable with the boredom sometimes.
We talked a couple minutes ago about how my uncle, he's been in the business, started Malacca. He's been around for 30, 35 years. And just because of his longevity and those relationships that he has in the community, I would say 80% of his business comes from his sphere. And the crazy thing that blows my mind away, that actually kind of makes me angry, is he doesn't call anybody. He doesn't send out any mailers. They did a little bit this summer, and they were getting leads like you wouldn't believe. But then he stopped, and it kind of made me think, well, if I can get on that right now, 4 years in the business, and I have 100 people, what is this thing going to look like when we have 1,000 people in the database system? It's probably going to look like the Parmalo team.
Yeah, you're going to have 300 plus sales a year, and you're going to be extremely profitable. And you're going to be deciding what you want to do next, and you're going to want to try to figure out how you can plus other people's lives around you the most. I can see that out of you too, is that you're going to want to, the people that are inside your company, you're going to want to bless them and help them and grow them, and that's what that business will allow you to do. And it'll just be time over task, and you'll be able to help more people around you. And then you might look up and say, hey, I want to help other people do what I've done because I got to this point where I'm happy where this is, and I don't want to have my margin go way down just to get my name on more billboards or whatever that looks like.
Sure.
And I want to help other people do it because I just need to bless other. I need to help other people.
Yeah.
It's different for everyone. Everyone has different goals and different beliefs and all that stuff. But
absolutely,
I can see that happening.
If we kind of be more transparent with my numbers, we're looking at 50 units closed. I would say 50% of that does come from my prospecting activities. Those expireds, canceled, circle prospecting calls, that sort of a thing. And you kind of just get random business that kind of shows up, and I've dabbled with some internet marketing. So 25% comes from just random things, and the other 25% comes from Sphere. So if I'm looking at that, 25% of Sphere related is coming without actively pursuing my Sphere already. It just, again, paints a picture of there's more opportunity here. And now we're in the creative stages of, okay, We have the movie event coming up, which is great. Now from there, after, what can we do to keep in front of my sphere so that we can cultivate more leads and add more value, just as you say, into their lives and just grow more of a whole organic-based business.
And it's so funny because so many people, just like the gentleman I talked to today, was kind of down about that. He looked at ours and he wasn't quite where we were. And I just looked at him and I just said, dude, you're running a phenomenal business. Don't look at other people and what they're doing. Look at them and take some key things that you do and add it to your business so it grows. But don't, envy is like one of the worst things that will derail you as a business owner and as a person. It's just like, look, what you're doing is so phenomenal. What he's doing is so phenomenal, so profitable, and look at what, like, the whole other world, like most other business people don't have these opportunities. You got to look at that and just use that as your gusto to grow more, and you will over time by doing the right things. Right. Let's leave it with, I want one question. So what do the best do? What do the best do to not get derailed? Like you said, you probably have once a week on average. Maybe it's 1.5 days a week, 1 to 2 days. So say 1 to 1.5 days a week where you really nail it, like you're happy, that you're just super. Let's say even it's 2 days a week. Okay. What do the best do to nail 3 or 4 days a week? Is that even possible? I want your opinion on that. And we didn't prepare for this. I just want to hear.
My honest opinion is
your honest opinion.
5 days a week to be in like a robot. I don't think it's possible. I shouldn't say it's not possible. It's just extremely difficult to come in with a robotic routine that you do every single day and not either get burned out or have life things that are thrown at you that take you off and just kind of derail you. And again, I think if you can really, and I don't know the statistics or the numbers, but I'm really thinking if you can at least hit half of the objectives that you're setting out to on a weekly basis, and you can focus more so on your key objectives, for example, lead follow-up, lead generate, I think it's going to really set the tone for your business. But to say that every single day we're working like a clockwork machine, that's hard for me to accept. Mm-hmm. Just because I know myself personally, it's hard to stick to what I want to do even at 50%.
I agree. I agree with that. I think that's the conundrum, or I think that's a struggle for almost any business owner. Yeah. They can say it, or they can say it and admit it or not. But I think that's the struggle. Now, what you do as your business gets bigger, is I find you do your best to find people that can run certain parts of it, and get as much as you can to do automatically. Mm-hmm. But then there are the days, just like what you do now, where you do step in and you really drive a piece or two, and you drive a piece or two, at a time. I don't know if it's possible. I think there's the Michael Jordan. There's a 1 out of 100,000 or whatever it is, or 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 2,000 that just does it every single day, and then they look up, and the funny thing is they're closing 1,000 transactions a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
It's definitely it's hard to really stay on that discipline, and I think again you got to think longevity, and you got to think of always building more and more habits. Because to set yourself up to think tomorrow I'm going to work this schedule the rest of my life, you got to understand like it's going to be a while before you finally adapt into that schedule. I've been doing it for 4 years now, and my sleeping habits are terrible. And those first couple of years, I struggled getting to the office before 10 a.m.
But you work at one thing at a time.
That's right.
And you slowly pick at a way.
That's right.
And then you hopefully that becomes a habit where you don't have to spend as much energy and thought to make that happen. I mean, I was just thinking to myself today, I run most mornings. And this morning, I didn't even remember running. I ran 3.5 miles this morning. I don't even remember running, which is crazy because I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm just saying that it's such a habit now that I didn't even, it's like brushing my teeth. Did I brush my teeth? Oh yeah, I brushed my teeth. I had to think about it. Same thing with running. I ran this morning, but I barely even remember it because it's such a habit. And we all have those in our lives, but that's the key. Yeah. One at a time over 3 years, and then it becomes a habit.
That's right. You're going to really burn yourself out right away if you think you're going to work like a robot immediately, because it like I said before, it's a marathon. It's just small, consistent habits that you can build on that over time. When you look back, you think, oh, wow, look where we are.
Yes, then you
Yeah.
look back and then you're excited, and then
Yeah.
you try to get rid of the negative energy as much as possible, just as long as you are making strides to becoming better every day. Okay, so we're gonna have a couple more videos here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk about that on the next video.
All
So
right.
we're gonna wrap it up here. So thanks for. We get a lot out of Dylan. Dylan has a lot. So we're gonna have Dylan on a couple more episodes, and we'll go from there.
Sounds great. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me, Josh.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.